Bum-ba-da-dum. Howdy, welcome to BanjoBenClark.com. I'm Banjo Ben, your host here on the site that teaches you how to play banjo mandolin, and this is Guitar Week, and we're finishing up this beautiful mandolin guitar duet for Jesus Paid It All. Released the mandolin part on Easter. I thought it was very fitting, and I had lots of requests for this old hymn, and I love doing duets, so I just put it all together. So today we're going to look at the guitar part, but we're also going to identify a skill, and that's what I call, or what folks call, hybrid picking. That's where we use a flat pick, but we're also involving some fingers. In particular, we're going to use the middle finger today, kind of introduce you to it if you've never done that before. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you're watching on the website as a Gold Pick member, just scroll down for the rest of the lesson resources, including more lesson videos, the tabs, and also MP3s. You can play along with me with the mandolin, so we can have our own little duet. If you're watching somewhere else besides the site, I'd love to have you on board as a Gold Pick member. Come see us. Let's jump right in. Let's start with some song stats, and then we'll get into the hybrid picking. This song is in the key of C. That's the key that I wrote it in, which is handy because that's a great key to sing it in. So this works not only for the duet, but if you wanted to back somebody up, or maybe yourself as you're singing it, it works great. Also, it's a waltz, so we'll just keep that in mind that there are 3 beats in each measure. Now, what is it about this hybrid pick, and what in the world is that? Well, we're simply going to keep a flat pick, at least today. We're going to keep a flat pick in between our thumb and first finger, and then we're going to involve another finger to grab another string. So as we kind of zoom in on that with this other camera, it would look something like this. Now there's all kinds of different tones that you can get with that finger. Of course, you could use your ring finger as well and your pinky. I just want to introduce the middle finger today. And the reason why you would want to do this a lot of times is because you're wanting to play 2 notes at once, 2 strings at once that aren't right next to each other. So for instance, if we wanted to play this D string, and we also wanted to play this B string at the same time, but we did not want to play this G string, okay, then how are we going to get that done if we have a flat pick? And the way we're going to do it is we're going to pick the D string with our flat pick, and then reach down with our middle finger, or another finger, and grab the B string so that we get this sound. If you're going to do it all with your flat pick, you'd have to brush through all 3 strings. So this allows us to be a little bit more picky about which notes we play. So just, if you want to pause it and try this quick exercise I'm going to show you, and then we'll jump into the song. But just start on like the 2nd, 3rd string, playing with your flat pick and your middle finger. You may have never done that before, but it doesn't take long to get used to. Then spread them apart. Move your pick up to the 4th string, your D string, but keep your middle finger down there on that 2nd string. That feels a little bit different because we've got some space between the 2 fingers now. Oh, let's create some more space. Let's jump on down to the 5th string with our flat pick, but still pick that 2nd string. Now that's getting kind of uncomfortable. And we also want to keep our volume and our tone good, so we don't want one string really outshining the other unless we want it to. And of course you can even spread it out, but it gets pretty difficult after you get 4 strings apart. Okay, so now that we have that skill, let's apply, or at least know what it is. Let's apply it to this song, and the song can actually help us work on that, right? So as we look at the verse, we're going to start off playing the solo, and then we'll go back and look at what the backup's like. But it's going to have a pickup going into measure 19. I don't have the pickup there on your screen, but it's I hear, so it's 2nd and 3rd fret there. It's in the tab if you download the tab. But as we come into measure 19, you'll see some of the words, or you'll see all the words to the song beneath your notes. But what you'll see beneath some of the notes are these little 2s with circles around them. And what that is showing you is which notes that I will play with my middle finger, with my 2nd finger. Index 1st, middle finger 2nd. So, for instance, there in measure 19, you see that I've got a 3rd fret down there playing the chord root, but our melody happens on this G string. I want to play both of those at the same time without involving the string in between them. So I'm going to grab the root down there with my pick, and then I'm going to pick the melody note with my middle finger. And then I'm going to use my middle finger to jump up and grab that 1st fret at the top of our C chord. So the first few notes sound like this. Now, the reason I don't have pick direction arrows is because we're going so slow, you could just about do this whole thing with all down strokes if you wanted to. And I find that I do it differently as I play through it. I also find that sometimes I grab certain notes with my middle finger that I might not grab the next time. And so sometimes we're forced to do the hybrid picking to get the notes that we want, like here. But then look at measure 20. Look what happens. Look at this. Now I'm going to play that open third string with my pick and then grab that first fret there. Now I wouldn't have to do that. I could play all my flat pick. But it's going to sound different and have a little different feel if I pinch that with the hybrid picking. Now measure 21, I'm going to just put my ring finger down on the root, and I want you to notice something interesting there for the word strength. I'm going to jump up and use my middle finger to play the next 3 notes. Why would I do that? Well, I'm going to do that because my middle finger's already there. Could I use my pick to jump up and grab those because they're not pinches? Absolutely. But I like the sound of my middle finger, and it's just more ergonomic to do it that way because my middle finger's already there. Now I am going to brush in measure 22 just to show you that we have some variation here that you can do. So as I play through this first line, I want to point something out to you, and that is, let's try to keep our melody pronounced. Maybe the most difficult thing about hybrid picking, and I'm by no means an expert. I didn't grow up doing this. I've had to learn it fairly recently or get used to it. And one of the most difficult things about it is to make the melody notes stand out whether you play it with your flat pick or with your finger. Because your flat pick's going to tend to just want to create more volume. So that might not be a problem to play our melody with our flat pick. But when we go to use our middle finger to play the melody while at the same time having to play a bass note with our flat pick, you've got to be very careful not to overshadow your melody with the flat pick. And that's just going to take some practice. You might practice playing 2 strings at once and play it one time, making sure that the picked note is loudest. And then one time, trying to bring out that top note. It's difficult. Like I say, I'm still learning. So here's what the line sounds like. So I tried to bring out the melody, whether I played it with my pick or my middle finger. I think you heard that. As we go to the next line, we get some repeating. We're going to go to an A minor. Now here's what's interesting. The melody note is actually here for pray. Weakness, watch and pray. But I don't play that. And the reason why I don't is because I wanted to do this A minor chord, which is a substitute chord. It's not in the hymnal. It's just a banjo bend substitute chord. And I wanted that to really stick out. And if you played the melody note, but with an A minor chord on the top, it's possible to do that. It's a little difficult to finger, and you don't really recognize this an A minor chord. So instead, I'm going to go down the A note and reinforce my melody note up there. I don't think anybody will have a problem with that. So here's my melody, measure 25. So try not to get this too loud, overshadowing your melody. Oh. That's a little difficult to finger in measure 25. So it's just a C chord with the G in the bass, but you don't want to do that playing this with your pinky because we're going to need our pinky to drop down and grab that F note on the 3rd fret. It's probably the hardest part of this song. And then release your index finger at the last part. We got a little triplet at the end, 8th note triplets that take us into the chorus. So this whole line. Oh, that's so pretty. So get into the chorus, some things that we've already seen before. Try to keep that melody out. I'll play that line again for you, and you try to play along with me if you can. some repeating. 32, we're going to do a small brush over an F chord, if I can play it. You could have picked it that way, but I just wanted to get the sound of a brush through and have a little bit of note separation. And then we're going to do an F sharp diminished chord, which is very similar to a D7 chord, and there's only a one note difference. So I'm going to grab kind of a D7 with an F sharp in the bass, and our melody is way up there at the top. So let's land on that, and don't be scared to slow down a little bit. And then we're familiar with this lick. That whole line. Now we're just going to have a little tag that repeats the melody that we've already played, but if you're doing the mandolin duet, the mandolin's going to play this tag with you, and it'll sound really pretty in unison. And we've got this little lick that we're going to learn here in a bit whenever we go to play the backup that works really great for this outro, the next line. Okay, so next, if you're watching here on the site, we're going to go and play the whole solo, verse and chorus, through slowly together, and then we'll go into the backup. Remember that you can slow down and speed up the videos by hitting the little gear icon in the bottom right corner of your video, and don't forget to download the MP3s. If you're watching somewhere else besides the site, come on over. It's just now starting to get fun.